started at the start of September, and like you say, the first board meeting was due to be in Belfast, which was great because I think you're always more comfortable when it's your home city and you're familiar with, where you're going and things. So that didn't happen, and it moved online. But I think thankfully because of the pandemic, we're all pretty comfortable with Teams and Zoom and things now. So it wasn't that awful, should I say, and just really new. Everything has been so new, and that really is the whole point of the scheme. So it's an apprenticeship scheme for people who have no experience of sitting on a board.
So when did you start, Judith? And then
I started
first board
September.
meeting was? September?
Yeah.
And the first online board meeting was?
Was it the middle? It was the second or third week of September.
Dear me, you were straight into
yes.
it then, yeah.
It was just the timings. So obviously those are already scheduled. All the apprentices start in September. So yeah, it was good. I got straight into it, and the FSA, luckily there was 2 other board members starting at the same time who were, official board members. So they were having their induction, so I could just piggyback onto that, which was great.
And that worked okay for you, didn't it, in terms of induction?
It was fantastic, and again, you sort of learn from the peers that are on the scheme. I got 3 days of induction, which was huge compared to what other people have got from their boards. So I was so appreciative of that.
FSA wide or Northern Ireland?
FSA.
So explain the footprint again of FSA.
So we got to meet people from all the different directorates.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had introduction from lots of the team in Northern Ireland as well. So and I think that's a really pertinent thing, that FSA is a UK, obviously a board, whereas the scheme I'm on is for Northern Ireland. So a lot of the other boards that are involved at the moment are just within Northern Ireland.
Yes, that worked out really well. So it's a really unique organisation, isn't it, in terms of its footprint in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. So Northern Ireland, the Board Apprentice programme has been running in Northern Ireland for a number of years, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think like 5 or 6.
In terms of the Northern Ireland footprint of FSA, it has the Northern Ireland Food Advisory Council. So we were able to apply then to be a host board, and then for you to buddy the chair of NIFAC into the main board in FSA centrally, which is, and Board Apprentice they had aspirations to launch in UK, didn't they? So
yes,
you were kind of the first one to go in the UK board prior to the scheme launching, is that right?
Yes, call me the guinea pig maybe, but it's worked out in that it's given me just huge understanding, and it, in a way, because FSA is more complex than others, it's just giving me more experience and exposure to how that works. And post Brexit, we're going into detail on things that we're discussing at the board and about the devolved nations and how complex that is, and how talking about retained EU law and the differences between Northern Ireland, and it does, I'm very honest, it takes a while to get your head around it all. And that's what it's from the start, from September. The first few meetings, you do feel like, oh my goodness, talk about fish out of water, because it's such new learning. But I have to say, I was just at the board retreat the last 2 days, and it's a nice feeling once it all, I wouldn't say all of it, but some of it's really starting to make sense.
Together.
And it's all coming together. And so what I would say is the difference between September and now, my confidence is increasing. I feel more on top of the topics, and that I can contribute to conversations, and it's a nice feeling when you sort of felt so uncomfortable a few months ago.
Yeah, and that's nice to hear, because you're being buddied by the Northern Ireland Food Advisory Council chair, and then going, having that discussion in a safe place, I suppose, in the Northern Ireland team, and then moving into board level. That is quite daunting. Your background is
So I'm a nutritionist.
Yeah.
So when I went for the apprenticeship, you have to pick your preferred boards that you would like to host you. So if I'm honest, I only picked one. I only picked the FSA.
We didn't get to choose. We were just given you.
Hopefully you're not too disappointed. But yes, I knew I wanted to do it. And I think that's one thing I would say to anybody that's thinking of going for it. It is a very steep learning process, and I think you need to be interested in the organisation that you're going to be hosted by, without, because it's so much learning. If you're not interested in the topic, I think it could be quite difficult. But say I work in nutrition, I a genuine interest in the whole food system, so much of it is interesting to me, which just is an added bonus, I suppose. So I'm gaining skills and experience in an area that I'm really, really interested in.
And then there's a breadth beyond, presumably, what you knew in terms of your own discipline.
Absolutely.
That you've been exposed to, yeah.
Yes, you sort of think you've got a handle on it. And even, with the induction, even learning about all the different directorates and teams and the work that's going on in the FSA, it's unbelievable, the breadth of the sort of remit.
And the different policy responsibilities in each of the nations.
Absolutely.
It took me a while to grasp all of that.
Yeah.
And then the different political positioning across the nations as well. It is complex.
That has probably been so eye-opening in that that there's pushes and pulls of how things happen, but that sort of political, the social, and particularly at the moment, the last couple of years, how many changes there've been and how quick as an organisation you have to react. And the executive clearly are dealing with that, but those, because of the nature of the board and how we regulate and how we're governed, that has to then go through the board. So those really important decision making, it's been such brilliant learning for me.
It's a really unique organisation to actually to sit on the board, in terms of just being a civil servant that's reporting in the ministerial department. The governance structures are really unique, aren't they? In terms of, what's your first impressions of the FSA as an organisation in terms of its governance, how it operates, the transparency? So all the board papers, for example, are published, as you know. Everything they do is based on the science and the evidence, and speak into ministers. Yeah.
It's going to sound like I have to say this, but I'm not. I've been so impressed. Part of the apprenticeship scheme, it's about, we have learning days each month as well. So we come together as a group and have learning days from experts. So one of the very first days is around governance and what good governance is. And what I'm learning, I can then clearly apply. I can transfer that and see that FSA have that in place. And the other thing I liked, even in the FSA strategy, it's about being open and honest, and that's key to we're learning about your Nolan principles of public life, and that's exactly what it's about. So I think it's an excellent organisation to demonstrate how it's doing that well. It's even the skills, going to board meetings, the etiquette, even the relationships you build between members, and questioning, that's another big thing. It's easy to see the executive are the experts in their fields, and it's that skill from a board member to
your role is to challenge that and unpick
to challenge it, and even simple things about how you word your questions, and so that you're it's the fine line between being supportive but also making sure that you're getting all the information you need to uncover anything that maybe would need addressed. So that's been interesting, and we've been looking at sort of case studies where things haven't worked well in other organisations, and you go, oh my goodness, how did nobody pick that up? And
well, that's good. So you're going back into the board apprenticeship program for those learning days, and then having that debate and then bringing that back. So it's a win-win for the host organisation and you as an apprentice, obviously. Do you see at board level a diversity of views. That's the purpose of the scheme.
Yes.
And that's why we're a host board, to ensure there's diversity of opinion and challenge at board level where we're governed. Can you see that? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's an important part of the governance, isn't it? And about the makeup of your board, that you make sure you have members from very different backgrounds. So, if we look at it, the FSA world, you've got industry, you've got government, you have a mixture. And number one is always considering that consumer point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, if I was to give advice in the earlier days when I just started, I was sort of concerned I'm not up to speed with all the information. So how I'll look at it is through the consumer lens. Because and hopefully give that sort of point of view until I'm more involved in the topics. Yeah, because everybody's a consumer. So yes, it's and I think you can apply, what I'm learning, you can apply to anything, where you're working, if you're in your own organizations, sort of the questioning of how decisions are made, and your consumer, what are you there to do, and are you meeting those objectives? So yes, it's just been brilliant. I've been really enjoying it, and the topics have been fascinating, and you even see stuff in the news and you go, goodness, I can relate to that a bit more.
Relate to that, yeah. And you're bringing challenge then back from the board discussion back into us in the Northern Ireland Food Advisory Council as well, so I can see the flow of information back and forth. It's good.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
In the programme. And the theme, isn't it, for the apprenticeship week upcoming is skills for life. So you can see yourself how you've stretched from September to now.
Absolutely. And I think it maybe sounds a little sort of naff, but I think anybody could be learning at any stage. I think it's important to challenge yourself. I mean, these things, they do make you feel uncomfortable. And I'm being a nutritionist, I've been working for 15 to 20 years, and you think you sort of got your head around it. And this has given me, it's really widened my horizons, opened my eyes to the bigger, lots of other things that are happening. And I would just encourage anybody, if you've got an opportunity, to go and do something like this.